afternoon and welcome back to Football League World TV. Final show of the week from us, and it's the weekend preview with myself, Alfie Burns, and my colleague Billy Mulley. Billy, how are you getting on this afternoon?
Yeah, doing well, thank you. Yeah, looking forward to fast approaching deadline day. I know Luton haven't done any business as of yet, but yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be waiting up until it ends with a little bit of hope.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like we've been talking about the transfer window all week, but we've got some games to get stuck into this afternoon. Just a reminder that we're streaming across Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So if you are joining us, please do get involved in the comments. Let us know if you're going to a game along with your score prediction. We've got 6 games to run through, 2 from each division. We're going to get straight into it with the Championship. First game that we're going to look at is tomorrow's clash between Millwall and West Brom. Millwall, we'll start with them before we get stuck into the baggies. Millwall are without a win in 3 and haven't scored in 2. But Billy, this could be quite a good opportunity for Gary Rowett's side, given West Brom's current situation, which we'll come on to in a minute.
Yeah, disregarding Millwall's own situation, it's the best time for anybody probably at the moment to play West Brom. Fans are not happy at all with the way Ishmael's operating. That 3-4-3 and the lack of flexibility it comes with is something that it seems that Baggies fans aren't too happy with. Daryl DK as well, set to miss some time. It doesn't point towards anything positive at the moment for West Brom. Obviously, that 2-0 defeat to Preston midweek wouldn't have helped much. But yeah, Millwall find themselves in a similar boat where, Gary Rowett is not in the best position of his managerial career at Millwall at the moment. Fans have voiced their concerns for the majority of the season, not to the level I don't think of Ishmael at West Brom, but at the same time, Millwall are loosening their grip on the playoffs. I think they're 11 points away now. I think they do have 2 games in hand, but they're at risk of really losing themselves in the picture. And I can't really put my finger on what's going wrong. They still seem defensively resilient, and they've never been sort of free-flowing attacking team that will score loads of goals. But at the same time, they tend to do enough, and I think it's that end factor that they're not just doing enough at the moment to win games, or even in some cases not even take a point. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Millwall are down in 15th at the minute. And I think if you looked at the table and took form out of the window, Millwall down in 15th and West Brom up in 5th, and you'd be thinking that this was going to be a West Brom win, but that obviously isn't, necessarily the case. It's just 1 win in 6 for the Baggies, and the pressure on Valerian Ismail at the minute is absolutely huge. Plenty of chance for Slaven Bilic in the midweek loss against Preston, and a trip to Millwall is never easy, and it's not really the ideal trip for West Brom to be making this weekend, is it, with the pressure that's on Ismail?
Yeah, not at all. As you say, the Den can be an intimidating place. Maybe not as much this year as it has been in recent seasons, given the circumstances. But yeah, again, a very good time for Millwall to play West Brom. 5 points from the last 6, and they're actually at risk of dropping out the playoffs as well, which you'd say that maybe a month or 2 months ago, you would think that's completely absurd with the way everything's gone. You can't help but feel that Ishmael's in trouble now. Fans are not happy with the start. I think that's the key part, the style of football. West Brom, I know when they got promoted, and even in the Premier League last year, they still played a good brand of attacking football, and it's quite one-dimensional at the moment. And I don't think West Brom fans are liking that, because they're not even getting the rewards of operating at the top of the table. So it's tricky, because when I saw Ishmael at the start of the season go into West Brom, I thought that's going to be excellent. I thought there's going to be slight flexibility in the way they play, given the players they have at Ishmael's disposal. But it's just been very, very Barnsley-esque in terms of the way they set up and play football.
Yeah, I think a conversation that me and you had earlier in the week, Billy, on a different show, or potentially even off air, you said that you didn't think that West Brom were going to finish in the playoffs. The way that they're going at the moment. You just want to explain your thoughts there a little bit.
Yeah, I think there's definitely scope for them to improve and, get back on that. But I think if you look at the way things are going at the moment, the discontent within fans, if Ishmael is allowed to continue for a while, then, you look at the chasing pack, you've got Forest, you've got Middlesbrough, you've got Sheffield United who are even starting to kick into gear now as well. And you think they're gonna capitalise on any little slip up, and I think they're making really good strides towards the playoff positions. Those three clubs that I mentioned are massive clubs that have a really, really good feeling around, especially the first two that I mentioned, Forest and Middlesbrough. There's a real good feeling around both clubs, and I think that's what's missing at West Brom at the moment.
Right, then let's get some predictions for this game then. Millwall versus West Brom. What's your prediction, Billy?
It's difficult. It's very, very difficult. I can't put a loss for both, unfortunately, because it looks like it could go that way. But I'm going to go for a 1-1. Millwall do love a 1-1 draw, so I'm going to go down the middle.
Yeah, I've gone for the pressure to really sort of intensify on Ismail here. I've gone for a 2-1 Millwall win. I just think it's not an ideal fixture for West Brom to be going into, despite Millwall's sort of form at the moment. Elsewhere in the Championship this weekend, we've got Middlesbrough in 8th against Coventry City in 9th. This looks like a decent fixture for us to preview. Boro were poor in their defeat to Blackburn last weekend, and they'll want to get back on the horse this weekend and keep the pressure on the top six that they've managed to build over the last few weeks, won't they, Billy?
Yeah, definitely. As I just said before, Middlesbrough, there's that real good feeling now. Wilder's in charge, and it wasn't the best displays against Blackburn, but ultimately Blackburn are a very good side in this division, and the fact that the majority of people would have actually expected Middlesbrough to go on and get something out of that game just shows how much things have progressed in recent weeks under Wilder, and sort of the expectation levels are rising. But yeah, I think this game is a perfect opportunity for Middlesbrough, to get back to winning ways. Coventry have been slightly inconsistent since sort of November time. I think performance levels actually haven't dropped too much, looking at the way that Coventry fans have been talking about their club in recent weeks. Instead, they've just not been able to secure the results like they were at the start of the season. Had a good win, of course, against Stoke during the week, and Gyökeres finally getting back on the score sheet. But yeah, for me, Middlesbrough should be viewing this one as a winnable game and an excellent stepping stone to get into the playoff positions and even further.
Yeah, absolutely. Coventry in 9th then. 2 wins from 3. As you mentioned, they've been a little bit inconsistent of late, but 2 wins in 3 is a step back in the right direction for Mike Robbins' side. They've got games in hand as well on those around them in the table. But, this weekend they'll want the sort of morale boost of beating another top 6 rival. Would you agree with that, Billy?
Yeah, it's massive for them if they can get all 3 points against arguably the informed side of the division. I know, again, they did lose during the week to Blackburn, but if you sort of look at the last 10 games, Middlesbrough are right up there in terms of the form teams in the division. And again, because of how Coventry have been this season, it's a doable task of them getting all 3 points. Been really impressed with Ben Sheaf recently. I know he didn't really get the credit he deserves near the start of the season, but he's really come into his element now. And Gyökeres getting on the score sheet again, I think that's going to be a massive boost. Obviously, had that sort of barren run in recent weeks. So, yeah, Coventry aside, I think that given that they've been in the playoffs and dropped out, I think people will start disregard them, quite naturally. But I think they've still got what it takes to keep on fighting near the top end of the division. And, I think they'll be very competitive against Middlesbrough on Saturday.
Right, let's get some predictions then. Middlesbrough versus Coventry.
Yeah, say they're going to be competitive, but I think Middlesbrough will just about edge it on the quality. You sort of look at Middlesbrough attacking options now, and it's crazy, really. Some of the players they've been able to attract already this January. It looks like Wilder is building a squad that's capable of promotion. So I think in terms of this one, I think Middlesbrough might just edge it 2-1.
Yeah, I think that Middlesbrough, will be looking to get back to winning ways at the Riverside Stadium. But I'm fancying a little bit of a goal fest this weekend. I've gone for 2-2, and what will be a decent point come the end of the season for both sides, I think. Right, down into League One now. We're going to start with Sheffield Wednesday's clash with Ipswich Town, two massive clubs down in League One. We'll start with the home side Wednesday. 3 defeats in 4 has seen them slip 6 points off the playoff places. Billy, they could really do with a win this weekend, couldn't they, Darren Moore's side?
Yeah, it's a very important game for both, but yeah, specifically looking at Sheffield Wednesday, massive club that you think that needs to really be in the playoff picture come the end of the season. You know, the quality in the squad. I personally think Darren Moore's a very good manager. It might have been slight inconsistencies this season, but some of their performances that have put in is up there with the very best in the division. So I think it'll be a very exciting game. And even though, as you say, those inconsistencies have crept in, I think they have been quite strong at home in recent times. 7 games unbeaten at Hillsborough, which could be pivotal in a game like this. And the fact that they've recruited well as well, I think that could bode well in a really, really exciting game. Jordan Story and Harley Dean coming in. I think that's 2 signings that they were looking to do in terms of they viewed a centre-back as overall priority, and I think they've got a very good one in Harley Dean, someone with a lot of championship experience, and I think that could really be a big push in what remains of the season. Gutting to see Corbianu leave and go over to MK Dons, because yeah, he's a real exciting creative outlet, and it sort of falls on the shoulders of other players in the team that have been on the fringes but still have the quality to be fully justified in that their starting 11. So yeah, I think from Sheffield Wednesday's perspective, it's a massive game for them, and they're running the risk of being forgotten about as a playoff chasing team if they don't get anything from it.
Yeah, they've done some good business, haven't they, Wednesday? And I think, like it has been all season, it's about getting a talented squad gelling and all sort of pulling in the right direction and understanding patterns of play. But Wednesday, still in 9th and still with a great chance of the playoffs. It's just a case of turning over direct rivals like Ipswich, who sit 8th in the table. By contrast, their form's been very good in recent weeks under Kieran McKenna. They've won 4 from 5 and are seemingly flying towards the playoff places. But even still, going to Hillsborough and getting a win would be quite the statement, wouldn't it, Billy?
It'd be a massive statement. Yeah, 4 wins in the last 5, but I think this would be a 3 points that would, be the ultimate indication of how far they've come under McKenna. I'm very, very surprised to see Paul Cook not shining with the squad he had. Paul Cook, I think, is an incredible manager, but I think some things don't work out in football, and that's what happened there. But McKenna's come in, revitalised the support, improved sort of relationship with players as well. I think that was a little bit of discontent within the squad, but I think that looks all okay now. And yeah, it's good to see James Norwood come back into the fray and start scoring goals and being an overall influence again. Looked that he was sort of certain to depart, and now he's playing a starting role in a team that's on the up and doing a very good job from what it seems. I think they've got some excellent players in that team, and it's just about getting them all firing. And yeah, I'm sure that they're going to be in and around the playoff mix as the season progresses. And I think even looking at midweek, Wes Burns is just an incredible player. I think I was surprised that he's been playing as advanced this season. I know he's always sort of flipped between playing as a fullback and a midfielder, but this season he's playing that little bit more advanced within sort of a front three almost, and just behind the striker on the right hand side. Sorry, so yeah, he's doing amazing, and I don't think Ipswich will be able to keep him should they not go up this season.
No, I think that this has got the potential to be one of the games of the weekend. Let's get your prediction then for Sheffield Wednesday versus Ipswich Town, Billy.
Yeah, I've got sort of a similar feeling that it'll be one of the games of the weekend. Everything points towards it being one, but I don't want to, promise a goal fest and it all go sour. I'm going to go for 1-0 Ipswich. I know Sheffield Wednesday have that really good home form, but I think Ipswich are just coming into their element now, and I think they're starting to build on something.
I'll be a little bit braver than you. I'll go with a goal first. I'll go 3-2 Sheffield Wednesday to continue that good form at Hillsborough. Another, just above those two sides in the table, another clash is between Wycombe Wanderers in 4th and MK Dons in 5th this weekend. Another potentially really good game at the top of League One. We'll start with Wycombe, who look to have discovered or rediscovered their best form in recent weeks. But then there was an absolute coupon buster of a 3-2 loss last weekend against Morecambe, who came from behind to beat Wycombe. How are we expecting Wycombe to respond to that defeat, Billy?
I'm really excited for this one. A bit of a Buckinghamshire derby. From where I'm from, Three Counties Radio, I've been building it up all week. So I'm looking forward to what they promise to be a very good game. As you say, Wycombe will not be too content with losing to a side facing relegation at the moment. It's in terms of their recruitment in the summer, I think they did exactly what they needed to do to sort of sustain to maintain their sort of top end status when they do come into League One. I do think they've actually got a better squad this year than they did when they were promoted, but I think the competitiveness of the division might be the downfall if they don't go up this season. I think against MK Dons as well, it's going to be a massive game. Wycombe been averaging 2.23 points at home this season, unbeaten in the last 5 home games as well. So it's all pointing towards a positivity for Wycombe when they return home.
Absolutely. As for MK, they were beaten recently by Doncaster, but they responded well in the week to go and beat Burton Albion. It leaves them 5th in the table, but there is a little bit of a gap between themselves and Wycombe. But my feeling is a victory for MK this weekend over Wycombe wouldn't just be a statement win. It'd be one that really thrust MK into the top 2 conversation in League One. What's your feelings with that, Billy?
It's difficult to know really with MK Dons. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the rest of the January transfer window. It feels like the majority of their starting 11 have had a championship rumour or higher this season. Obviously, Matt O'Reilly's already gone. I think Scott Twine was linked with a move to Nottingham Forest. Swansea have been after Harry Dylan as well, and I'm sure there's more that I'm missing immediately there. But they are just a team just with such exciting individuals and collectively as well that they perform really, really well. I think the sky really is the limit for them because they are a really, really good team to watch. Liam Manning, I think, is doing an incredible job. I think a lot of that does still have to go to Russell Martin, as much as MK Dons fans won't want to admit it. He sort of laid the foundations for Manning to work on, and as I say, Manning's now done an incredible job to keep that playoff fight and even automatic fight on. It's just been incredible, really. You thought that would be the big blow, Russell Martin departing, but no, it's done quite the opposite actually, and they're sort of well within the picture. No, as you say, a really, really disappointing result against Doncaster, a team I don't think that won away all season. So it's one that they wouldn't have been too happy about, but the response was incredible, really, and to win the game in the 90th minute. Scott Twine, who I've been so impressed with this season, I think I can't believe that he didn't get a championship move, and as I think I've said before, I really wish Luton had signed him, because at the time and even watching him now, he's just such an incredible player with intelligence, the goal contributions as well, 20 I think goals and assists. He's had a really good season, and I wouldn't say overshadowed by O'Reilly, because for me, watching Twine this season, he has been the standout for me, and that might be different to MK Dons fans who have been watching games week in, week out. But yeah, for me, he could be massive in what remains of this season.
Right then, let's get into some predictions. Wycombe versus MK Dons.
Very difficult again. I see a goal fest in this one. It's going to be a 3-2. I'm going to go for MK Dons. Another agonising defeat for Wycombe by a 3-2 margin.
Yeah, you've gone with goals in this one, and I haven't. I've gone 1-0 Wycombe. I think that Wycombe will just show that little bit of quality and at home get a narrow victory. Finally, we're going to touch down in League Two and kick things off with Northampton versus Salford. Northampton sitting 5th in the table and Salford down in 9th. We'll start with Northampton. No winning 4 for them, but they've drawn with Forest Green Rovers and Sutton United in their last 2 games. Nevertheless, they could probably do with a return to winning ways just to keep, the pressure on the top 3 in the division this weekend, couldn't they, Billy?
Yeah, certainly. You think Forest Green are as good as promoted at this stage. They've just been incredible this season. Tranmere have shown excellent form. They've been brilliant, and that it leaves that third space at the moment. And Northampton have sort of weakened their stance at the recently, as you say, 4 games, 2 points picked up. Has been sort of a tough set of fixtures for Northampton. I think that's easy to forget, but at the same time, they do possess a good enough squad to get promoted from this division again. It's just probably a lapse of confidence, and this is a good opportunity to get back to winning ways at Sixfield. Salford have been inconsistent all season, and they'll try and tried to capitalise on that. I think the return fixture as well, it was Northampton were denied with a 90th minute equaliser. So yeah, I think they'll be seeking revenge for that. And he's got that added incentive now that both teams are pushing towards the playoffs, and we're entering the second half of the season.
Yeah, those inconsistencies at Salford mean that they are 9th and just hovering outside the top 7. I mean, we've been talking a little bit in this show about what it would be kind of a statement win and that kind of thing. But a victory for Salford over Northampton could really shape how the rest of their season would go, really, because it would really put them in that contention for the top 7, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think I have to be a bit careful with Salford, because every time they put 2 good results together, I start getting excited for them and thinking this is it. But yeah, often to be let down. But yeah, I think recruitment so far, I think solely bringing in Matt Smith is just a massive boost for a League Two club. So it'll be interesting to see how that fares up in terms of what he can do in what remains of the season. But yeah, it would be a big statement result. Salford going to Northampton and coming away with all 3 points. At the same time, Northampton, it's a big chance for a statement result, and could be pivotal in their automatic search.
Absolutely. It's a tough one to call this. I feel like all the games have been quite tough to call, but this one especially. Where do you see it going, Billy?
Yeah, I'm the same with you. I think it's the toughest one yet, so I'm gonna go in the middle with my favourite one on.
I'm gonna go with a home win. I'm gonna go 2-1. I think that it's going to be a good game, this, but I feel home advantage will be important for Northampton. Finally, then, we're going to touch on what could potentially be the game of the weekend right across the EFL as Tranmere Rovers host Forest Green. This is obviously 2nd versus 1st in the division. We'll start with Tranmere as the home side. They're in great form, and they've been in great form right over December and January. And rightly, I kind of feel like they're going into this game as favourites, even though they are coming up against top of the table. What do you think, Billy?
Yeah, perhaps the only time this season, since Forest Green have been so dominant that they probably don't go into the game as favourites, because Tranmere have been excellent recently. You think they're the only team at this stage that could possibly catch Forest Green. So in terms of that, I think that adds extra incentive for those Tranmere players. And I think in terms of their recent run of form, it came as a bit of a surprise. I remember speaking on one of these shows about them not scoring enough goals, and could that be a downfall? But that they've proven that it's not just goals that you need; it's a solid defence, and that's exactly what they've got. 25 points from 27 available, I think, says it all, really. Just conceding twice in those 9 games as well, which is just incredible for any level, let alone a League Two, which typically is about scoring goals and outscoring your opponent in recent years. And another thing as well, conceded 6 at home all season, making it not an impossible task, because it's Forest Green we're talking about here. But yeah, for your average League Two team, going to Tranmere is a daunting task. But yeah, as we say, Forest Green are not your average League Two side.
No, absolutely not. It's definitely an opportunity for Tranmere to sort of forge some sort of title race in League Two. Forest Green's form, though, is also, really, really good. You cannot begrudge them that. And a win this weekend would set them 10 points clear at the top of the League Two table. And I mean, you could already claim that they've got a foot already in League One next season. But a win this weekend, then it's an absolutely giant stride towards promotion, isn't it?
Yeah, especially when it is 3 teams that go up automatically. Yeah, I think at this stage, Forest Green look very good, Tranmere look very good, and then below that, teams have looked good, but it hasn't been as consistent as the 2 teams playing on Saturday. And yeah, Forest Green have been really, really impressive. I think if they do win this, I cannot see anybody else stopping them. As you say, it will be 10 points, and I think they'll still have a game in hand on Tranmere, so that will be massive for them. Not pivotal because they're in such a good position, but a very good opportunity for them to just claim and show the division that they're the real deal. And I think when you've been this impressive like they have this season and been this dominant, then I think it will bode well for them next year. Obviously, be very, very difficult considering they've never set foot in the higher division than League Two. But yeah, I think that they've got all the components there to go on and do that. I think Tranmere are on the same lines as well. So I think that's why we're looking at a really, really good competitive game.
Yeah, let's get some predictions for this one then.
It's going to be. It's very, very hard to predict this one. I think, given how brilliant they have been, Tranmere recently, I think I can see a sneaky 1-0 or a 2-1 somewhere, something that is going to be a really good game. But yeah, I can see maybe Tranmere just nicking it.
In the interest of balancing that out, I will go with a narrow away victory. I'll go 2-1 Forest Green. Right, that concludes our weekend preview on Football League World TV. Thanks for joining me, Billy, and thanks for anybody that has joined us across Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. We'll be back next week on Football League World TV. There's obviously deadline day on Monday, so there's plenty of deals to do over the weekend and on Monday, and then I'm sure there will be plenty of reaction to what has gone on across the EFL in the transfer window. So please do make sure you join us next week. But of course, have a good weekend between now and then.